Hello, Scrappy Peeps. Suzanna here today for Spiegel Mom Scraps to share with you my layout, which is a scrap lift of this layout created by Crafty Jen Schow. And I use that layout to create this particular layout. So you can see she had two pictures, and I used two pictures which are in the center with a large title, and she had a little bit of mixed media in there, so I went ahead and did the same. I didn't have the color that I wanted, so I created my own by mixing a little bit of Dreamsicle Dazzlerz, which is the first sort of pasty thing from shimmers that I used, and then I sprayed some of my Ruby Spritz on top of that, so I had a bit of a peachy color and a pinky red, and together mixed, they created this really cool sort of iridescent pinky orange, kind of like that pink that's in the sticker to the right hand side next to the yay. It is a little bit thicker than a spray because I had the paste of the Dazzler in there, so I did add some water to it to try and water it down so that I could get a better splatter. And you can see how I hit my hand to knock the brush, which then gave some really cool splatter effects. I did dab up some of that because it was pretty thick, and I was impatient and didn't want to wait too long for it to dry before I created the rest of the layout. So just as Jen has a textured pattern paper background with a light pattern paper, a light pattern on the paper, I also used a pattern paper, only mine has a little bit more I'm going to say busyness to it than hers does. She also had two really thin strips up the top and the bottom of her layout, and so I recreated that with this green. And she also had in gold an uneven scalloped border up the top, and I will create something similar as well. So I just used my Prima pen to apply these really thin layers down to the top and the bottom. And then you will see me pull out a piece of scallop. It's a piece of pattern paper, and this collection that I am using is Maggie Holmes, and I just fussy cut. They're not actually scallops, they're designed elements. They're sort of these little yellow fringes that surround the scallop, so I created that to make it into a scallop. And this is from the 6x6 paper pad, and just tuck that into the top to give the effect of the gold that Jen has on the top of her layout. The next few segments here, you will see I have these banner stickers from the Maggie Holmes collection, and I am determined to use one of them, some of them, all of them on this layout. And I thought they would be really cool at the top where Jen has that gold border, but I also really liked the idea of what I had created, and so I thought I could try and incorporate the two, but it just ends up looking like this big bullseye, and I couldn't find a way to make both of them work, but I do try really hard placing it at the top, placing it at the bottom. I could have probably taken out what I had there, the pink and yellow scallop, and put a bunch of those green ones, or alternated the green and the blue, and that would have looked really cool as well. But I liked what I had. So these pictures are of you can see the bear crossing sign on the left-hand side. That's what that really vibrant yellow is. And to the left of that, that little black dot there is a baby bear. And the bear is in the picture beside it. We were heading down to see one of the trees in Yosemite. And actually, I don't even think we were at Yosemite. We were at Sequoia, and we ran across this baby bear, which was kind of exciting on our first day there. So that's what these two pictures are of, and this was last August. So Jen had two tags at the top of her layout with some flowers poking out of the top, and some flowers also down in the left-hand corner of the layout. So I did a similar arrangement, only instead of a matching corner flower, I put that camera that I'm messing with there, and then I also did put some a die cut of those white leaves behind it in order to sort of just add a little bit more movement to the layout there. So I'm just playing with the placement of these as I lay them down and stick them down. Jen had her flowers over her picture as well, and it looks like she's got that flower on that bottom left corner to hide some shadow in her picture. I didn't need to hide shadow, but I didn't have anything relevant in the picture there, and so I was able to cover up that bottom corner as well. I cut that tag because I'm not going to use the tag for journaling. Jen had had written on her layout, her journaling, and so I do the same, and you'll see that later on in this layout. So there's the flower, and I had some wood veneer left over from some Cocoa Daisy kits and that particular Cork piece that says hello. So I wanted the big title like Jen has, and I went with Hello August because this was in August, and she has a big heart at the end of Sunshine, and so I put that black and white heart, and then these cork hearts that are from Spiegel Mom Scraps. Unfortunately, Jody has discontinued making the cork hearts, but as I've said in a video previously, you can make these on your own. If you have a hand crank manual die cut, just run some cork, thin sheets of cork, which you can pick up at Michael's or Joann's, through your Big Shot. But you can grab them still too at Spiegel Mom Scraps before they run out. And then I used some sequins. And the sequence pack that I used is the new Fairy Garden, and the colors of that matched perfectly with the colors in this layout, which were sort of more that pink, that tealy color, and some craft and dark blue. I pulled the dark blue from the picture, which made it okay to use that on the layout for me. So the Spiegel Mom Scraps merchandise that I used here on this particular layout, I will reiterate, are the shimmers, Ruby Spritz, and Dreamsicle Dazzlerz that I mixed together to create my own custom color, and the chunky cork hearts, as well as the Fairy Garden sequence pack. I'm just using my fine line tip applicator with my Scotch Quick Dry to stick all this down. Because it's wood veneer, I find that it sticks much better either using glue dots or the Quick Dry, and I happen to have the glue dot out, the Quick Dry out, so that was what went down easiest. And I'm just using my ruler to make sure that all of these letters end up drying in a straight line there. I love these wood letters, and I'm glad that I found a place that they fit appropriately. The wood veneer is perfect on an outdoorsy layout. So that will probably be the last of the gluing of elements for this layout. I do sift through some of the other elements to try and find something else, but really I have a lot on there and it really doesn't need anything else. I did take a couple of the puffy hearts. Jen has some hearts. You can see a black heart to the top of her wood veneer piece. Mine's an arrow and hers says love, and so I put a similar heart placement to where she had put hers. And I really wanted to use one of these little stickers, and Jen doesn't have that on hers, although she does have the ongoing part of her title that says on a cloudy day, and I could have probably have put that sticker underneath August, but I liked it at the bottom there, just for a little bit of weight to draw your eye from across the page. So in a minute, I'm going to look for a few other stickers, and I find this label, And I knew I didn't need the whole label, so I just used my X-Acto knife and cut that in half, and I wanted that to be peeking out of somewhere, and that saved me the other half of the label to use somewhere else. My initial plan had actually for it to be at the bottom of that layout, but I end up tucking it in on the right-hand side of the pictures, and again, just for another picture layer. I could stamp the date on there, but I kind of like it as it is just sort of this little frill behind the picture. And then I am going to be very brave, and I am going to actually journal on camera, which I have never done before. I usually do write my journaling out beforehand, but I wanted to get this done, and so I just wrote directly on the page. And what my journaling says is, we were driving back to see one of the famous sequoia trees when we spotted this baby bear and its mother right near the bear crossing sign. What a sight. Our only sighting while at the national parks, because we had been at 3 national parks, or we're going to have been at 3 national parks that week, at Yosemite, Kings Canyon, and Sequoia National Park. So that is my lift of Crafty Jen Schow, and that is done using the Maggie Holmes collection and some great goodies from Spiegel Mom Scraps. So if there's anything that you need from Spiegel Mom Scraps, if you use Suzanna 15, you get a 15% discount. I would love you to leave some thumbs up if you enjoyed this process video, and if you don't subscribe, I would love to have you join us. Enjoy the close-ups, and thanks for joining me today. Take care.